Hey y'all, it's Libra Finesse here back again. Doing a part two because my camera went out on the last Hot Tub Time Machine snippet for the Ghetto Nun. At that point that it had went out, we were just talking about petty bullshit and knowing the signs and just being in tune with yourself. I'm gonna pick up right where I left off. So she also talked about goofy ass niggas, niggas that just wanna fuck and steal your light. Divine feminines, we have to know who we are. We have plenty. We have plenty. We are wealthy, and we have to be aware of people who don't use discernment and intuition. It's a lot of people out here like the blind leading the blind. You in a relationship with a motherfucker that don't see shit. He don't see when people are underestimating him. He don't see the person that he can be. He just looking at you and feeding off of your light. We have to take into consideration that. And if a person that you're with is not using their discernment and intuition, use yours and know that you are more than enough. Know that you are plenty. Don't let a motherfucker come and tell you, knock your crown off your head, because they don't feel secure about themselves, or they don't feel worthy within themselves to attain the things that you have attained. Just know that, divine feminines, you have a lot and you are royalty. You are worthy and you are royalty. I apologize for that. She also talks about coming from a place of underestimation for so long, where people will just growing up in different environments where people, you go through shit and it seems like the norm until you get older and you're like, that shit don't seem right. But that's what happened all my childhood. Again, it's knowing your worth, knowing you're worthy, and knowing that you're royalty. Excuse me. And she says silence is your answer. Like she said, sit in silence, reflect, sit in silence to gain understanding. Silence is the answer to a lot of things. Shit, when you stay quiet on a motherfucker, they know what time it is. They know exactly what time it is. You can sit back and say, I haven't heard from such and such. I called a couple times and, he's not answering me. You know exactly what time it is if this motherfucker ain't answering you. Move right along. And she talks about change. When you change, others don't. Either sometimes they'll change with you, or they'll revert back to the bullshit. And then you, as a person, have to keep pressing forward. You can't try to take everybody with you on your journey, because your journey is yours alone. Everybody has their own different journey, and I know it sucks, because if you vibing with a person and then they see you changing and then you see that they reverting back to their bullshit, it's hard to stay. It's hard to just be like, you know what, okay, I'm gonna see if he gonna change. I'm gonna wait on him. No, if you're changing, full steam ahead. Like my mom always says, onward, noble steed. Everybody's not meant to go on that journey with you. So sometimes you gotta leave a motherfucker in the past. And if it's meant to be, I'm a strong believer on that. If it's meant to be, it'll be. Just let it flow. Let it flow. Go with the universe. Let it flow. She also talks about stop fucking with Moni in the middle ass motherfuckers. Again, the motherfucker that sees that you changing and he trying to just suck out your energy and your light. No, and you see him reverting back to the bullshit. Don't keep that in your life. Your life is meant to be lived and be happy. You don't need toxicity and back and forth bullshit. She starts singing that song, Girlfriend by Pebbles. I love that song because there's other fish in the sea. Trust me. If something don't work out, somebody else will come along and it may work out with them or the next one. My parents are prime examples of that. My parents are prime examples of, hey, sometimes shit just don't work out. I think my parents were married 14 years before they divorced, and my mom left because my dad was just with the shit, with the straight shit. And I admire my mom for that. Because a lot of women will stick around like, I'm older, I'm never going to find anybody. No, fuck that. It's plenty of motherfuckers breathing every day. You'll find somebody else. Like, I like that part in the song where she says there's other fish in the sea, because don't let nobody bullshit you and treat you bad. Because there's somebody that will come along and treat you good. You have to know. There we go again. Living in the knowing. You have to know that there's somebody coming for you. You have to know that. You have to know that, hey, I don't deserve this shit. I don't deserve being treated like shit and not being acknowledged and feeling like, a motherfucker tolerating me. My parents are prime examples of sometimes shit just don't work out because they both have moved on, remarried, and living life. So, sometimes I like that. Sometimes shit just don't work out. Okay, moving right along. On to the next. You learned your lesson. And that's what it is. We always have to learn. We have to learn from what we go through, because if we don't learn, it'll circle back on your ass. It'll definitely circle back on your ass. She talks about also saying no thank you to the divine masculine who's with the bullshit. Divine feminines are looking for the real deal. The real deal. We want to be happy either way. Coming and going, I want to be happy. And she talks about the divine feminines figuring it out. Accept that bullshit is real and move on from the fucktards. Just straight up move on. Like, it's no need to sit. Like I say, either you're going to be a volunteer or you're going to be a victim. God wants you to drop that shit and focus on God. Focus on yourself. Focus on your inner being. Focus on what matters to you. Let's stop volunteering for bullshit and let's find the God in us and focus on what matters to us. Like she said, it's mind over matter. She also talked about that song Weekend by SZA. I cannot stand that damn song. I've never liked it. No shade to SZA.